Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to discuss a new topic, that is capital structure theories. See, in order to achieve the goal of identifying an optimum debt equity mix, it is necessary for the finance manager to be conversant with the basic theories underlying the capital structure of corporate enterprises. There are four major theories or approaches explaining the relationship between capital structure, cost of capital, and value of the firm. See here, what are the capital structure theories? So here the capital structure theory, it explains about optimum debt equity mix. It explains about optimum debt equity mix, and these approaches are theories explaining the relationship between capital structure, cost of capital, and value of the firm. That means when there are changes in capital structure, then what is cost of capital and what is value of the firm? See here, in there is a change in debt equity mix. For example, debentures 20%, equity 80%. Then what is the value of the firm as well as cost of capital? So in another case, debentures 50%, I mean equity 50%. In this situation, what is the capital structure? That means debentures 50% and 50% equity. Now, what is cost of capital? That is overall cost of capital and value of the firm. That means, see, capital structure theories explains relationship between capital structure, comma, cost of capital, and value of the firm. So based on the changes in capital structure, what are the changes in cost of capital and value of the firm, we are going to study according to capital structure theories. See, majorly there are four types of theories are there, or approaches are there. The first one is net income approach, NI approach, and the second one is net operating income approach, NOI approach, and the third one is traditional approach, and the fourth one is Modigliani and Miller approach, that is MM hypothesis. See, there are four major types of capital structure theories. The very first one is net income approach, and the second one is net operating income approach, and third one is traditional approach, and the last one, that is Modigliani and Miller approach, that is MM hypothesis. So according to these theories, we are going to discuss, so what is the relationship between capital structure, cost of capital, and value of the firm. Now let us discuss what are the assumptions to capital structure theories. So what are the assumptions? So on what basis the capital structure theories may be worked out? See, look at the first point. The firm employs only two types of capital, that is debt and equity. There are also no preference shares. So there are also no preference shares. So here the first assumption is the firm employs only two types of capitals, that is debt and equity, and there are no preference shares. That means according to the capital structure theories, the firm has to employ only two types of capitals, that is debentures and equity shares. So there are no more preference shares. So according to the theory, so here the assumption one is the mixed or the capital structure consisting of only two theories, I mean two, we can say that sources. The source one, that is debt, and the source two, that is equity. Debt and equity only, that is the first assumption. Okay, and second one, there are no corporate taxes. So the second assumption is there are no corporate taxes. సో taxes ట్యాక్సెస్ కూడా ఇక్కడ ఉండవు అని చెప్తున్నాడు. And the third assumption is there are no retained earnings, it implies that entire profits are distributed among shareholders as dividend. So, since we discussed the first point, that is the firm employs only two types of capitals, that is debt and equity. So there are no preferences, and here the third point stress that here there are no retained earnings. So in a firm's capital structure there are no retained earnings also. It implies that, so it indicates that the entire profits are distributed among shareholders as dividend. So no retain earnings means that means there is no retention ratio. That means 100% dividend payout ratio. That means 100% dividend payout ratio means the firm distributed entire profits to their shareholders in the form of dividend. The firm distributed entire profits in the form of dividend to their shareholders. That is the third point. There are no retained earnings. And next, coming to the fourth point, the firm's total assets are given and they do not change. In other words, the investment decisions are assumed to be constant. So here the information will be given about total assets of the firm. So here the firm's total assets are given and they do not change. That means the firm total assets will be constant. There is no change in the firm's total assets. In other words, the investment decisions are assumed to be constant. So here the investment decision should be assumed constant. So there is no fluctuation in the investment decision. The investment decision of the firm is constant. That is, the total assets do not change. And next one, fifth one, the firm's total financing remains constant. The firm can change its capital structure either by redeeming the debentures, by issue of shares, or by raising more debt and reduce the equity capital. See here, in the first point we have discussed that the firm capital structure is consisting of only debt and equity. Now coming to the fifth point, here the firm's total financing remains constant. That means here the financing options are only two, debt and equity. The firm can change its capital structure either by redeeming the debentures, by issue of shares, or by raising more debt and reduce the equity capital. So that means here, see here the capital structure is, say, 10,000 debt and 10,000 equity, for example, 10,000 debt and 10,000 equity. So here the firm can change its capital structure either by redeeming the debentures. So ఇక్కడ రెండు they can change. Here the financing remains same. That means they can finance only 20,000 rupees. The total capital is 20,000 only. So they can finance only 20,000 rupees, but they can change the proportion of debt and equity mix. That means, so now here 10,000 debt and 10,000 equity. Now we can change 8,000 debt and 12,000 equity. So what is the total finance? The total finance is 20,000 only. The total finance is 20,000 only. Or we can say that here 12,000 debt and 8,000 equity. So both are 20,000 only. So here the firm cannot change their financing. Total financing they cannot change, but they can change the capital structure proportion by increasing debt, by issue of shares, or raising more debt by reducing equity shares. So that is the point. So they can change the proportion of debt or equity mix. And sixth point, the operating earnings EBIT are not expected to grow. That is, EBIT will be same or EBIT will be constant. And the last point, that is the firm has a perpetual life. That means the firm should be for a long period of time. That is called perpetual life. So these are the important assumptions for the capital structure theories. Now look at the first one. Here see, there are four capital structures now: net income approach, net operating income approach, traditional approach, and the last one Modigliani and Miller approach. Now we have looked at the first theory, that is net income approach. See, net income approach. This approach has been suggested by Durand David. According to this approach, capital structure decision is relevant to the valuation of the firm. In other words, a change in capital structure causes a corresponding change in the overall cost of capital as well as the total value of the firm. See here, very simple. Here, the firm's capital structure. Here, what is capital structure theories? Here, the capital structure theories explains the relationship between capital structure, value of the firm, and overall cost of capital. So here, this approach, net income approach, has been suggested by Durand David. According to his approach, or according to this approach, capital structure decision is relevant to the value of the firm. That means it is relevant. Capital structure decision is relevant to the value of the firm. In other words, a change in capital structure causes a corresponding change in the overall cost of capital as well as total value of the firm. That means, see here, when there is a change in capital structure, or when there is a change in proportion of mix of debt and equity, అంటే డెప్ట్ ఈక్విటీ ప్రపోర్షన్స్లో చేంజ్ అయినప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఆటోమేటిక్గా దేర్ ఇస్ ఎ చేంజ్ ఇన్ ఓవరాల్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్ యాజ్ వెల్ as టోటల్ వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ద ఫర్మ్. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమంటున్నామంటే టూ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్స్ మాత్రమే ఉంటాయి, టూ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్ సోర్సెస్ మాత్రమే ఉంటాయి. దట్ ఈస్ డెప్ట్ అండ్ ఈక్విటీ. వెన్ దెర్ ఇస్ ఎ చేంజ్ ఇన్ ప్రపోర్షన్ ఆఫ్ డెప్ట్ అండ్ ఈక్విటీ, that means, see here, when there is a change in proportion of debt and equity, suppose, see here, debt 50%, equity 50%, debt 40%, equity 60%, and next debt 20%, equity 80%. This is debt and this is equity. See, according to this theory, according to net income approach, so if there is a change in capital structure, see here, the value of the firm and overall cost of capital in case of 2080 will be different. Here, the value of the firm and the overall cost of capital will be different in case of 50-50 debt equity mix, and the value of the firm and overall cost of capital will be different when there is a debt equity mix is 40-60. So that means when there is a change in cost of capital structure, when there is a change in capital structure, ultimately there will be a change in overall cost of capital as well as total value of the firm. So total value of the firm and overall cost of capital changes according to the changes in capital structure. Are you clear? Now, according to this approach, a higher debt content in the capital structure will result in decline in the overall cost of capital or weighted average cost of capital. So ఇక్కడ ఏమంటామంటే అకార్డింగ్ టు దిస్ అప్రోచ్, సో ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఇస్ ఎ ఇంక్రీజ్ ఇన్ డిబెంచర్స్, ఒకవేళ క్యాపిటల్ స్ట్రక్చర్లో డిబెంచర్స్ అమౌంట్ ఇంక్రీజ్ అయినప్పుడు దాని యొక్క రిజల్ట్ ఎట్లా ఉంటుందంటే దేర్ ఈజ్ ఎ డిక్రీజ్ ఇన్ ఓవరాల్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్. దట్ మీన్స్ the proportion of debentures increases, that leads to the decline in the overall cost of capital. The overall cost of capital ని ఇక్కడ మనం ఏమంటామంటే వెయిటెడ్ యావరేజ్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్ అంటాం. సో డిబెంచర్స్ ఇంక్రీజ్ అయినప్పుడు ఓవరాల్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్ తగ్గుతుందని చెప్తున్నాడు. So again it leads for the increase in the value of the firm. Again it leads in the increase of the value of the firm. That means, see, according to this approach here, with the increase in debt, అంటే డెప్ట్ అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ అయినప్పుడు the overall cost of capital decreases and the value of the firm increases. ఎప్పుడు డిబెంచర్స్ ఇంక్రీజ్ అయినప్పుడు ఓవరాల్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్ డిక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది అండ్ వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ద ఫర్మ్ అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది. ఆన్ ద అదర్ హ్యాండ్ అలా కాకపోతే, అంటే ఇంకొక సైడ్, ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఈజ్ ఎ డిక్రీజ్ ఇన్ డెప్ట్, డిబెంచర్స్ తగ్గించినాం అనుకోండి, the weighted average cost of capital increases. Weighted average cost of capital increase అవుతుంది, thereby the value of the firm decreases. So in a reverse situation, that means when debentures are increases, then the result is the value of the firm, I mean weighted average cost of capital decreases, value of the firm increases. When debenture decreases, weighted average cost of capital increases and value of the firm decreases according to this theory. Listen carefully, very simple. See, once again I am telling you here, according to this theory. So according to this theory, when there is a debentures increases, increase in debenture, so increase in debenture, that means weighted average cost of capital decreases, WACC decreases. So that leads value of the firm increases. So when debenture increases, weighted average cost of capital decreases, value of the firm increases. Why? In other way, when debentures are decreases, WACC, weighted average cost of capital or overall cost of capital increases, that leads value of the firm decreases. That means that leads value of the firm decreases. Okay, when debentures increases, weighted average cost of capital decreases, value of the firm increases. When debenture decreases, weighted average capital cost of capital increases, value of the firm decreases according to the net income approach. Now look at the assumptions. Net income approach is based on the following three assumptions. The first one is A, the cost of debt is less than cost of equity. So ఇది ఎప్పుడు వర్కౌట్ అవుతుందంటే, based on the first assumption, that is cost of debt, అంటే కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ డెప్ట్ మస్ట్ బి చీపర్ దాన్ ద కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఈక్విటీ. సో కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ డిబెంచర్స్ అనేది, ద రేట్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ అనేది తక్కువ ఉండాలని చెప్తున్నాడు. దెర్ ఆర్ నో ట్యాక్సెస్, సో దెర్ ఆర్ నో కార్పొరేట్ ట్యాక్సెస్. అండ్ సి, the risk perception of investors is not changed by the use of debt. So here the risk perception of investors, so investors యొక్క risk perception అనేది, అంటే thinking about their risk, do not changed by the use of debt. అంటే డెప్ట్ మనం యూజ్ చేసినప్పుడు their risk perception do not change అని చెప్తున్నాడు. So these are the three assumptions basically for the net income approach. Now have a see here how to calculate the total market value of the firm. The total market value of the firm on the basis of net income approach can be ascertained as follows. So here the market value or the value of the firm, we are going to calculate value of the firm. See here, this is the formula, V is equals to S plus D, whereas V is equals to total market value of the firm. That means the value of the firm V is equals to value of the firm V is equals to S plus D. S means market value of equity shares. That means the value of equity shares. S is equals to the value of equity shares, and D is equals to market value of debentures. That means value of debentures. Now V stands for value of the firm, S stands for value of equity shares, and D stands for market value of debentures. Now here to calculate V, that is value of firm is equals to S plus D, that is value of equity shares plus value of debentures. Now however, market value of equity shares, So how to calculate S? How we can calculate the value of S? See here, S can be calculated as below. S, that is value of equity shares, is equals to earnings available to equity shareholders. Earnings available to equity shareholders, that is called net income. Earnings available to equity shareholders divided by equity capitalization rate. Equity capitalization, that is called cost of equity. Equity capitalization is cost of equity. So here the formula to calculate S, that is value of equity shares, is equals to earnings available to equity shareholders. Earnings available to equity shareholders divided by equity capitalization rate, that is cost of equity. Now coming to the valuation of overall cost of capital or weighted average cost of capital. Overall cost of capital or weighted average cost of capital can be calculated as K naught is equals to EBIT by V. K naught is equals to EBIT by V. So EBIT means here operating profit. EBIT, earnings before interest and tax, divided by V. V means here value of the firm. V means here value of the firm. So by using net income approach, according to the net income approach, see here value of the firm and value of equity shares and value of, I mean, weighted average cost of capital can be calculated according to these formulas. Now, have a look at the problem. We'll discuss one problem in this video. Apart from theory, by that we can complete net income approach. Okay. A company, see, this problem is related to theory. Till now, we have discussed about net income approach. Now, I am going to solve a problem. Net income approach, NI approach, problem number 1. A company is expecting an annual EBIT of rupees 5 lakhs. So what is EBIT here? 5 lakhs. The company in its capital structure has 12% debentures of 15 lakhs. So firm capital structure లో 12% debentures ఉన్నాయి. The value of debentures ఎంత ఇక్కడ 15 lakhs. So here what is the rate of interest? 12% is the rate of interest. The cost of equity, the cost of equity or capitalization is 16%. So here the cost of equity is 16%. You are required to calculate the value of the firm and overall cost of capital according to NI approach. So what we need to calculate here, we need to calculate value of the firm and overall cost of capital. So value of the firm calculate చేయాలి, overall cost of capital calculate చేయాలి. And next, if the firm decides to raise further rupees 10 lakhs by the issue of debentures and to use the proceeds thereof to redeem equity shares, what shall be the value of the firm and overall cost of capital according to the net income approach? So in the second situation, what it is going to, and what it decides, the firm decides to raise further 10,000, I mean 10 lakh rupees by issue of debentures. సో ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నానంటే వాళ్ళ క్యాపిటల్ స్ట్రక్చర్లో ఈక్విటీ షేర్స్ని 10 lakhs తగ్గించి ఆ 10 lakhsని దేంతో రిప్లేస్ చేస్తున్నారు? దే ఆర్ రిప్లేసింగ్ బై డిబెంచర్స్. ఓకే, సో ఆ సిచ్యువేషన్లో వాట్ షెల్ బి ద వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ద ఫర్మ్ అండ్ ఓవరాల్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్ అకార్డింగ్ టు ద నెట్ ఇన్కమ్ అప్రోచ్ అని అడుగుతున్నాడు. సో దట్ మీన్స్ when debentures are 15 lakhs, when debentures are increased by 10 lakhs, that is 15 lakhs plus 10 lakhs ante that is equals to when debentures are 25 lakhs. So in two situations we have to calculate overall cost of capital and value of the firm when debentures are 15 lakhs, when debentures are 25 lakhs, and what is the effect on overall cost of capital as well as value of the firm, we will discuss now. Now once again here, what is EBIT? 5 lakhs. So what is the capital, I mean debentures? 15 lakhs in first case. And what is rate of interest? 12%. And what is capitalization rate? That is 16%. cost of equity, that is 16%. Okay, now coming to the solution. See, look at the solution. Calculation of earnings available to equity shareholders. So earnings available to equity shareholders calculate cheyalante, see here, EBIT in the given problem, EBIT is given 5 lakhs. In the problem, EBIT is given 5 lakhs, and here from EBIT, if you deduct interest, then we will get actually EBT. So less interest. See here, what is the interest should be calculated on debentures. So in case 1, the debentures are 15 lakhs. So what is the rate of interest? 12%. So 15 lakhs into 12 by 100, that is equals to 1,80,000. Once again, look here, earnings before interest and tax, which was given in the problem itself, that is 5 lakhs we have taken. Now we have to deduct interest. Interest should be payable to debenture holders. Okay, so that is 12%. Now calculate, in the first case the debentures are 15 lakhs. 15 lakhs into 12 by 100, that is equals to 1,80,000. So here the amount 3 lakh, 5 lakhs minus 1,80,000, that is equals to 3 lakhs. 5 lakhs minus 1,80,000, that is equals to 3,20,000. So here the 3,20,000 will be called as earnings available to equity shareholders. Students, don't get confusion. So here there are no taxes, as we said. So actually, what is the format of EBIT EPS analysis? So it starts with EBIT. EBIT minus interest is equals to EBT. EBT minus tax is equals to EAT. EAT minus preference dividend is equals to earnings available to equity shareholders. బట్ అకార్డింగ్ టు అవర్ అజంప్షన్స్. సో మనం అజంప్షన్స్లో ఏం చెప్పుకున్నామంటే, ఇక్కడ 2 రకాల క్యాపిటల్స్ మాత్రమే ఉంటాయి, ఒకటి ఈక్విటీ, ఒకటి డిబెంచర్, అండ్ దెర్ ఆర్ నో ట్యాక్సెస్ అన్నాం. సో అవి ఏముండవు అంటే నో ట్యాక్సెస్, సో నో ప్రిఫరెన్స్ డివిడెండ్ కాబట్టి, సో దిస్ అమౌంట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ ఎర్నింగ్స్ అవైలబుల్ టు ఈక్విటీ షేర్ హోల్డర్స్. ఓన్లీ 2 స్టెప్స్, ఈబిఐటి మైనస్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్, దట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు earnings available to equity shareholders. Now earnings available to equity shareholders enta 3,20,000. Now we'll calculate what is the market value of equity shares. So S is equals to, this is the formula, earnings available to equity shareholders divided by equity capitalization rate. Earnings available to equity shareholders divided by equity capitalization rate. So what is the earnings available to equity shareholders here? 3,20,000. So 3,20,000 divided by 0.16. So equity capitalization rate was given 16%, that is 0.16. 16% is given in the problem, that is 0.16. Okay, so now if you calculate 3,20,000 divided by 0.16, the answer will be rupees 20 lakhs. Now what is the value of equity shares? Now value of equity shares is equals to 20 lakhs. Now look at the market value of the firm. So what is the market value of the firm? V is equals to S plus D. So what is S here? 20 lakhs. So S 20 lakhs. So in the given problem, in this situation 1, debentures are 15 lakhs. So S plus D is V is equals to S plus D. See here, S 20 lakhs plus D 15 lakhs, that is equals to value of the firm 35 lakhs. And now overall cost of capital. See, till now we have discussed what is EB, earnings available to equity shareholders, next value of S, and now next value of firm we have discussed. Now what is weighted average cost of capital or overall cost of capital? See, this is the formula, weighted average cost of capital or overall cost of capital, K naught is equals to EBIT by V. EBIT by V. So what is EBIT? Here EBIT is 5 lakhs in the given problem. EBIT is 5 lakhs divided by, what is the value of the firm? 35 lakhs. So 5 lakhs divided by 35 lakhs, that is equals to 0.143, that is equals to 14.3%. 0.143 multiplied by 100, that is equals to 14.3. So this is the calculation procedure when the debentures are 15,000. When the debentures are 15,000, okay, when debentures are 15,000, here the value of the firm is 35,000 and the overall cost of capital is 14.3%. Now look at the second case. See, calculation of value of the firm and overall cost of capital if firm decides to raise debentures by 10 lakhs. So now they want to increase the debentures portion by rupees 10 lakhs. Then what is the overall cost of capital and value of the firm? We are going to discuss under this situation. Same procedure, calculation of earnings available to equity shareholders. See, EBIT do not change as it is 5 lakhs less interest. Now earlier 15 lakhs were there debentures, now increased with 10 lakhs. Now the debentures has increased to 25 lakhs. 10 lakhs plus 15 lakhs, 25 lakhs. So there is no change in interest, 12%. So calculate 12% on 25 lakhs, then you will get 3 lakhs. Now 5 lakhs minus 3 lakhs is equals to, now 5 lakhs minus 3 lakhs is equals to 2 lakhs. Earnings available to equity shareholders 2 lakhs. Okay. Now calculation of S, that is market value of equity shares. S is equals to earnings available to equity shareholders divided by equity capitalization rate. So what is the earnings available to equity shareholders? Here 2 lakhs divided by what is the capitalization rate given in the problem? 16%, that is 0.16. So 2 lakhs divided by 0.16, that is equals to 12 lakh 50,000. So here the value of S is equals to 12 lakhs 50,000. Now look at the value of the firm. Total market value of the firm, V is equals to, here the formula is V is equals to S plus D. So here S means here this is a value. Here the value of S 12 lakhs 50,000 plus here the debentures are 25 lakhs. Here the debentures are 25 lakhs. So S plus D 12 lakhs 50,000 plus 25 lakhs, that is equals to 37,500. So 37 lakhs 50,000, 37 lakhs 50,000. Now calculation of overall cost of capital or weighted average cost of capital, that is K0 is equals to EBIT by V, that is equals to, what is the EBIT in the given problem? 5 lakhs divided by, what is the value of the firm here? 37 lakhs 50,000. So 37 lakhs 50,000, that is equals to 0.133, that equal to 13.33. That means 0.133 multiplied by 100, that is equals to 13.33 to convert them into percentage. Now what is the overall cost of capital here? 13.33. What is the value of the firm? 37 lakhs 50,000. Now see, there are two situations. Situation 1, when debentures are 15,000. Situation 2, when debentures are 15 lakhs and the debentures are 25 lakhs. Now what is the impact on, we can say that overall cost of capital as well as market value of the firm. Now see here, when debentures are increases, so from 15 lakhs to 25 lakhs, here we can observe that, or we can say that here the market value of the firm increases. See here, market value of the firm increases. Now look at the problem carefully. Market value of the firm, this is V, value of the firm increases. See here 35 lakhs 37 lakhs 50,000. So market value of the firm అనేది ఏమైంది? Increase అయింది with the increase in debentures. When debentures are increases, value of the firm increases. So what is the impact on overall cost of capital? See here, overall cost of capital 14.3 and 13.3. So overall cost of capital decreases and value of the firm increases. So according to the net income approach, so when there is a change in capital structure, especially when there is a increase in debt అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ అయినప్పుడు ఓవరాల్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్ తగ్గుతుంది. సో ఓకే, ఓవరాల్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్యాపిటల్ earlier it was 14.3, now it is 13.33. So when overall cost of capital decreases, it leads ultimately increase in the value of the firm. So here 35 lakhs is the value of the firm and 37 lakhs 50,000 is the value of the firm in second case. Okay, so this is what about net income approach. So in the next video we'll discuss about net operating income approach, that is NOI approach. Until then, bye bye, keep watching, be safe, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.